Alright, welcome back to another episode of Lionheart Radio. I'm your host, Rick Alexander, founder of Louis Supplement Company based in San Diego, California. I'm here with my co-host, Memo.
Hey guys, Memo Cho, co-founder of Louis.
And we're here with Claudia as well.
Hey guys, Claudia Challoner, doctor of physical therapy with Movement RX and nationally ranked powerlifter.
Alright, I'm glad you put that part in this time.
Yeah.
Didn't forget
this time.
Alright, so today in the studio we have Kael Roberts. So Kael, the Kael Collective on Instagram, is a San Diego-based personal trainer. She's also got a lot of e-products out there, a lot of booty building plans, if I'm not wrong. Yep.
It's all about that booty.
Yep. So today we're going to talk a little bit about working out for aesthetics versus performance, and then we're also going to talk about how to make fitness your lifestyle. So Kael, thanks for being on today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, cool. So when did you get started with personal training?
I've been in personal training for about 6 years now.
Okay.
But fitness has always been kind of in my life. I grew up as a tomboy, so I was always kind of the rough and tumble kid that was out with the boys.
Uh-huh.
Where are you from?
Navy brat. So
Navy.
Born in Maryland.
Everywhere.
I've kind of hopped and skipped around, but I've been in San Diego on and off for 10 years now.
Nice.
Cool.
So how did you get involved in fitness if it wasn't personal training? Just sports or?
I ran track in college, and I had a hip injury, which forced me to do physical therapy, and it kind of crushed the dream. The hip injury crushed the dream, but the therapist actually totally changed my view on the setback. So I was, on a criminal justice major path, maybe going towards law enforcement, and going through that really negative experience, having really positive people change my view, made me hungry to know more about the body, how it works, how it functions. So I started going to personal training school at Mueller College here in San Diego. And as they say, the rest is history.
Yeah.
I've been doing it ever since.
What dream did it crush?
Just running college track and getting a free education.
Yeah.
Every kid's dream, I guess.
Yeah, so even now I notice that you work a lot of track workouts into your regular programming, so that's kind of where that stems from.
I love outdoor workouts in general. And track workouts do include a lot of mobility work. So it's nice to have that as a crucial element in a daily training piece that gets you out of the gym, gets your body moving in ways that it otherwise really wouldn't move.
Yeah. So when you're training clients, you typically start with the track workout?
It really depends on the client. Everyone's different and has different needs. Some clients really need to work on balance and flexibility first before they can even move to more functional training or weight training. Other people can just pick it up right away and be jumping around and having fun. Other people need a little bit more focus and attention.
Yeah. Do you have like an assessment? So if I just come to you as a client and you didn't know me, is there a system that you would go through, an assessment that you would kind of figure out like where their needs are, or would it just be like plainly talking to them?
I talk to them and assess where their head's at first, figure out what their goals are or how they see themselves. And I always put all my clients through a fitness assessment, and it's the same like basis assessment, but it ends up being a different result for everybody because we're all in different shape at different points in our life.
Yeah.
My teaching is based on the 5 fundamentals of fitness, so I really incorporate that with every client in every session. We work on balance, flexibility, muscular endurance, cardiovascular endurance, and muscular strength. So those are the 5.
Okay.
So
does that come from your like formal education as a personal trainer, or is that something you've
Yeah.
Okay. So would you recommend whoever's out there wants to be a personal trainer that they go to school for it, or? Of
course.
Okay. So do you have any certifications, or do you?
I do have certifications. So I'm NSCA certified personal trainer. I also do massage, which I was certified through the Nevada Board of Health and Holistic Health. So those are my 2 main certifications that I use on a day-to-day basis. I've gone through different nutrition-based classes, but I'm not like a nutritionist or a dietitian.
Yep.
I just have a lot of formal education on nutrition.
Okay. And so can you go back to the 5, what did you say, the 5?
The 5 fundamentals of fitness, we have balance, flexibility, cardiovascular endurance, muscular endurance, and muscular strength.
Okay.
So without including all 5, you wouldn't really be a well-rounded individual. If you only focus on building really strong, powerful muscle, then that would be muscular strength. but cardiovascular endurance is huge for just overall health. And then flexibility, if you're building all that muscle onto your body, it'd be really tough to move around, be mobile on a daily basis if you don't have that good flexibility.
Right. Claudia's laughing because she has zero cardio.
We just talked about this.
If you have to look up a mountain you're about to hike beforehand,
Yeah.
you have a cardio problem.
I just want to make sure that I prepare myself
Wait,
appropriately.
what's the elevation gain?
But in all seriousness, if I come to you, but what if my goal is a 1 rep max squat, bench, deadlift, right? So
If that was your goal, I would still kind of weave everything in there. Just because it is so important for you to progress quickly to incorporate everything.
Okay.
Of course, if your specific goal was the 1 rep max, then we would kind of maybe tone down the cardio, tone down muscular endurance training, but balance and flexibility would still be very huge components in what we do.
Okay.
So I always include everything. Everyone just needs them at different ratios.
Okay.
Depending on your goal, depending on how quickly you want to get there, and the needs.
Okay. So that's your template to kind of train somebody,
Yep.
and then you just essentially you adjust the percentage based on what their goals are.
Exactly.
Okay. Very cool. And so do you have a template that you always use for certain people or certain goals, I should say? Or do you really like build custom programming?
It's really custom if it's one-on-one. A lot of my online programs are pretty basic. It'd be a lot of time to try to get to know each individual.
Yeah.
So I have like a grouping of exercises that will help you get these specific results, but the results also vary depending on the person, how frequent they train, how consistent they are with the training,
Right.
how intense they train. There's a lot of variables that, especially with the online training, that I can't control, but I can give you the information and it's yours to do with what, use it as you want.
Right.
So with the online stuff, do you have like kind of different programs based on like if someone's main focus is strength or main focus is cardiovascular or something like that? You kind of have particular templates for that. Okay.
So I really realistically probably have about 20 different online programs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then like novice versus advanced. So
Yeah.
somebody who's experienced just wants that extra edge or that extra push. Then I have somebody who's more familiar with the gym, if you will.
Yeah. Okay.
And I wouldn't necessarily say I do cardio programs.
Yeah.
I really try to educate everyone on the 5 fundamentals of fitness, how important it is, and these are the options that you have open to you for free that anyone can do. You just have to push yourself.
Yeah. Well, having a template too, I mean, even like I've been working out my whole life, but having something to follow with a linear progression is always a good idea.
Exactly.
Just to keep you on track and keep you moving in one direction, I
Mm-hmm.
think. But that's what I'm trying to figure out. So are all of these programs, can you buy them all from your website right now?
Yes. Well, I don't have a website. It's just basically marketing functioning off of YouTube, Instagram, Facebook,
Oh, okay.
word of mouth.
Yeah.
But yes, you can purchase all of them online.
Okay. You need to get a website.
I know. I have one. I'm horrible with like the managing aspect of that. I can't tell you. I've had 2 different websites, and the guy who created it's like, all right, here it is. Do what you want with it. And then I totally get in there trying to customize stuff, and I screw it up.
Yeah.
And I'm like calling the guy at 2 a.m, like, I don't know what I did.
Yeah.
Is it through like Wix or one of those online?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm just not very savvy with the tech stuff.
Yeah.
Would
You want to
be.
hear a good story?
Of course.
When I started this supplement company, this is going to be crazy. When I started this supplement company, and I didn't know what to do at first either, so I was like, well, I just need to reach out to people and get them to push it, because that's what I thought supplement people did. You know, I had a product I believed in, but I had no idea how to market it, no business experience at all. And I saw you on Instagram, and I had a list of like all these people that I like had good followings and seemed to know what the hell they were doing. So I went to your website and I emailed you, and you never emailed me back.
That doesn't surprise me.
3 years ago.
Yeah, that was when I was trying to set it all up, and
Yeah.
it was just like frustrating because I had absolutely no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
And every time I tried to go do something, I'd just make it worse. So I was like, I tried paying the guy, he didn't do his job. 2 different times, I'm like down his throat, like, yo, dude, give me my money back.
Yeah.
What am I paying you for? And I mean,
Yeah.
lesson learned, but I'm like, Instagram's my website now. My mom thinks Instagram is my website. She always refers, she's like, yeah, so I looked on your website. I'm like, Mom. No. Instagram and website, two different things.
On your
awesome.
face space. So that's what I was kind of trying to figure out, like, how much of it do you systematize versus how much is kind of custom, but I guess that really depends on what people are paying, which
Right.
makes sense,
Yeah.
right? Because you need some kind of model that you can scale, and then also something where if people are paying for it, you can, like, really deliver spot on results. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So in what other ways so you've been really good at making fitness really your whole life. What other ways do you monetize? So you do the personal training,
Mm-hmm.
and then you do online programming?
Right.
Okay. What else
Do you also practice massage?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So independent massage, independent personal training, so I'm kind of all over the place.
Okay.
I would say all over San Diego, but I also travel for specific clients too. So as of recently, I've been all over the freaking world.
Mhm.
So it's cool, it's fun, it's unpredictable, so
Yeah.
it works for me.
And then what else?
That's it, really.
Modeling?
Here and there, it's not as consistent as I would like it to be, but
Yeah.
I think I go through like different waves where it all of a sudden a bunch of people reach out for modeling, and then I won't hear from anybody for 3 months, and then all of a sudden a whole bunch of people again want to get me modeling. So
Yeah. Do you do that mostly through networking, or do you like have an agent or agency, or?
mostly through networking. I used to have an agent, but I got sent on a lot of very strange casting calls, and
Yes.
so I stopped doing that.
I feel like Southern California is the hub of
Right.
strange casting calls. When I was 19, I walked out of Abercrombie & Fitch here in San Diego, and a dude came up to me and he was like, "Hey, have you ever been interested in, like, video?" And I was like, "Yeah, maybe, you know." And he's like, "Cool." And then he, like, gives me his card. I'm, like, looking at it. And he's like, "You just need to come by, and we'll take a couple pictures first." And I'm, like, getting this weird vibe. And he's like, "He can come," like, looking at my buddy. And I'm like, "Oh, man, you're asking me to do porn right now, motherfucker." I was like, "No, man, I'm all set." True story. All right, so
Close it out.
did you, so since you've become a personal trainer and you've built fitness into your life, has it kind of made you hate fitness in a way?
I went through a point where I was burnt out. I wouldn't say I hated it. I love the way fitness and staying active makes me feel.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one point where I was getting up at 4:45 in the morning and literally working like all day until 10, 11 p.m. and being very active. So then when you do have time to work out, it's so late that it's just like, okay, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I want to go lay down.
Yeah.
And I think I was just burnt out from working all day and not getting enough chance to rest. And some days you have to put your whole attention into a client, into a session. Other times the client's like, yeah, work out with me. I would prefer that anyway. But yeah, I would say maybe late last year, earlier this year was that little point in time.
Mm-hmm.
I put on the most weight that I've ever been in my life. I kind of went through a little depression period, and once I snapped out of it, got back into my normal routine, I'm happy again.
Yeah.
And fitness as a lifestyle is the way to go for me, at least.
Yeah. So, what did you do to kind of help get you out of that?
Change my schedule. Excuse me. That was the first thing that I had to do. Being a personal trainer, it's hard to do back-to-back-to-back sessions all day long.
Yeah.
And then being that I do travel all over San Diego County, I would be, here for 2 sessions, in La Jolla, for instance, for 2 sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd go up to Carlsbad for a massage session, and then I'd come back down to Point Loma for 2 sessions. Then I'd have a 3-hour gap. It's like, what do you do? I don't know. I'm hungry. I'm going to go take a nap. I'm tired.
Yeah.
And then you wake up and you have 3 more sessions in Mission Valley back to back. And so it's not like a full 8-hour working day like most people have. I might work 6 hours, but it's 6 hours completely spread out throughout the day.
Yeah.
And a lot of that in between time was transit commuting from one place to the other, making sure I get fed, and then doing the follow-up stuff, online, doing emails,
Mm-hmm.
making sure everything was pinned down on top of tightened up just like it should be, and I was exhausted.
Yeah.
I was burnt out on it for sure.
Yeah, because you still have to work on your business even though you're working in your business, right?
Yeah.
Is that something that you've run into, Claudia?
I was like,
I can see
amen,
nodding.
sister. Yeah, because so we're Muma RX. I'm a physical therapist, and we're a mobile company. So I work out at CrossFit gyms like all over San Diego County too. So I totally understand. I don't have as crazy of a schedule that you mentioned earlier, but yeah, you totally run into that, especially when you're working at a location all day, and like the last thing that you want to do is stay at that location and work out.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you see it with coaches too. I mean, I've talked to several other coaches that like that's like the last thing you want to do is stay at work and work out. So, I think finding that time of you time, making sure that you are giving yourself you time to focus on you, get away from work, and just relax or do whatever you want to do. Like, so I have like my own gym where I don't work in, that I go and no one talks to me about anything. I can just go in there and do my thing, and I don't feel guilty about not answering any questions about, oh, my shoulder this or my hip this. And
Right.
so it's nice. Just go in there and zone out. But I totally understand. It's tough for sure. And so it's all about finding that balance of, because it's not that you hate it, it's just you get burnt out after a while, and then you don't want to keep going into that burnout stage, because then you are going to end up hating it. So it's making sure that you
for like 2 days.
Yeah.
But no, I know this is my calling. This is what I want to do
exactly.
forever.
Yes.
So stop it, slap yourself a little bit, shake it, and get out of that funky mood.
Yeah, and then reset your schedule,
Yeah.
like figure out what works for you, and then go from there. But yeah, totally understand.
Yeah, work does a good job of killing anything you love. Like, all you have to do is call it work, and then have certain hours you have to do it, and like you're gonna hate it. I mean, I love shooting guns and driving boats and jumping out of airplanes and camping. And the last fucking thing I want to do on this earth right now is shoot guns, drive boats, jump out of airplanes, or camp, because that's what I do for a job. Like, it sucks so bad. But I think that finding that balance, and then also too, finding that creative outlet is super important. Like for me, I like to write and like create content and stuff. So like, as long as I'm doing that, it kind of like find the things that energize you, that you like get energy from.
Yeah, that's completely different than what you do.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm an artist. Like, I don't know if you guys know that, but I do painting.
Yeah. Just saying.
Are you an artist too? Do you paint?
Yeah, I love painting.
Damn.
Yeah.
Like, we need to create
Right.
together. I do painting and sculpting, and so I was on the physical therapy route this time last year, and going through it, I kind of figured that wasn't for me. The reason why I wanted to do it was because of my hip injury, how attentive, caring, knowledgeable, and positive my therapists were, really made me want to eventually do it. Personal training was the foot in the door, and then physical therapy was going to be the ultimate goal. But then seeing how the medical care system these days is, plan of care is limited to like 15 minutes when it should be an hour, and it kind of broke my heart a little bit, because I wanted to do it, but I saw how limited I would be. So then, being an artist, kind of backtracking here, being an artist and working those crazy hours, having a small hour here or there, for me wasn't enough time. I could get lost in a painting for 6 hours if I really tried. And so I wasn't being as creative as I was used to being. So I quit doing the physical therapy thing, went and took a sculpting class at school.
Yeah.
Like, I really needed that, more or less an attitude adjustment in a creative way to get me to snap back to where I was, to have that passion for fitness again, to have that creative outlet regularly. And taking that class forced me to be creative 2 times a week at this time. Yeah. And then it put that kind of wedge in my schedule where I had to readjust everything. And so I totally agree with what you were saying.
The creative outlet.
Yeah, it's important, especially if that's something that you really have deep inside of you. Like, you are a creative person. Yeah. Like, if you don't let that out, like, it drives you insane. Yeah, and you reach burnout real quick.
And to your other point about Western medicine, like, Claudia is kind of a unicorn. Not because she's a girl with a 380-pound deadlift, but because she's like a physical therapist.
385.
Oh, okay. Last time you didn't want to say you were a powerlifter. You have a 385-pound deadlift. No, but because you're a physical therapist that really gets to work with, like, the CrossFit population, the athletic population.
Yeah, so we're mostly cash pay, and we work a little bit with insurance, but I do get that hour with patients. So that's what I worked in the clinic before, and it was not all bad, but it definitely like drained on me. Only getting like 20 minutes with people and knowing that they need so much more time and they need to learn, like they need to know how to squat better, and they need to do this and that, and it just wasn't set for me.
I feel like you don't want to let them go, but you're like kicking them out the door at the same time because whoever's telling you what you got to do.
Yeah, the insurance goes back to
HMOs
money. What do you go?
back,
Always go back to money.
It does. Yeah, I had a similar experience. Like I thought that I wanted to go into physical therapy, and I almost wish that I would have been around physical therapists, because I went and I talked to like a lot of them, and I talked to the physical therapists that were in our athletic center at work and everything, and they were like, "Don't do it, man. You're gonna end up working on old people for 10 minutes at a time all day every day." And I was just like, God, that does not seem like compatible with what I want for my life. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a good point. Okay, so a lot of what you do is, well, I guess probably what sells and what people are interested in is training for aesthetics, training for looks versus performance. Would you say that's true, or do you get a lot of performance clients as well?
No, unfortunately, people want to look good and don't really care about mobility and functionality.
Yeah. Okay, so what would you say your e-products, like what is the percentage? Are they all really aesthetics based?
I would say about 95% is aesthetics based. I sell like meal plans online as well, but that's not me telling you how to eat. It's educating you on how to eat for your specific goals, for your body type, if you want to gain weight, lose weight, what type, like times to eat, how to pair your foods with your workouts or what you're doing for the day. It's a snapshot of really educating you on how to eat for your goals, instead of like me just telling you, all right, we'll eat this here and there, and then you don't think about it. You don't make an educated decision. Now it's just like, well, Kael told me to do it, so I'm going to do it right now.
Yeah.
My ultimate goal is to educate people on how they can really push for, I don't want to use the word perfection because that's not realistic.
Happen,
yeah.
Right.
But the best that they can be, and be as well informed as they can be.
Okay. And so are your is that all custom made? Did you custom build that?
Yeah.
Okay. So what kind of like diet principles do you subscribe to?
Nothing really in particular. I just try and deliver as accurate information as I can to people on how to eat for certain goals. So I break down, again, it's a snapshot. I've read countless textbooks.
Right.
And it's just kind of like the basic information. If you want to gain weight or lose weight, how to eat for your goals. No matter what, you want to eat clean. But certain foods, like if you want to lose weight, you want to avoid certain foods. Obviously staying clean. If you want to gain weight, you want to eat certain foods but still stay clean.
Right.
So it's really just an informative document that I piece together that will help you if you execute it according to
kind of like more like rules and that kind of thing,
it's
things
like
to follow.
Outline more or less with rules, and I give examples of meals, but because I'm not a dietitian, I can't tell you what to eat.
Right.
It would be just
like legally, you mean?
Yeah, it would be totally against my scope of practice. So I can inform you, I just can't tell you this is what you're gonna eat right now, and I just legally can't do that.
Okay, I see. So when you're training a client for aesthetics versus performance, like what are like the big differences, I guess? So if people out there listening want to train for aesthetics versus performance, like what are the big differences that you?
With aesthetics, I would say it's a lot of like muscle overload. So training specific muscle groups multiple times a week, probably more than I ever would. But performance-wise, then I'll incorporate more mobility training or whatever their specific need is.
Right, of course, sport specific.
Yeah. I have a client he's a former football player, came to me, I have balance problems, I can't walk up the stairs like I used to, but I want to put on muscle, rip up a little bit. He didn't have much weight to lose. So I put him through my fitness assessment, and assessing him, he had absolutely no balance, next to zero flexibility. And so I told him, I'm not comfortable getting you on the weights unless we work on function and performance first, meaning we're going to work on balance and flexibility first, since that's what you absolutely need.
Yeah.
If we throw weight on top of you trying to do this specific exercise with little balance and little flexibility, you're probably going to hurt yourself, especially if you're trying to do it without my supervision.
Yeah.
Which, of course, to reach goals faster,
right.
he's going to be doing exercises on his own.
Mm-hmm.
And within 3 weeks of just doing yoga and different poses, different balance poses, and a little mobility training, we did soft tissue work as well, his flexibility improved. It was like night and day. Completely different person. So then we were able to progress into the weight training. And when he stopped doing yoga, the weight training was much more difficult for him. You'd see less progression with it. So for him specifically, he had to couple the two together.
Okay. So yoga's what you kind of use for mobility?
Yeah.
Essentially.
I mean, it's different for everyone. I do like dynamic warm-ups for almost all my clients.
Mm-hmm.
So just, doing different, more or less body weight exercises, slower, you're holding different positions, getting blood into the muscles flowing instead of just making them hop right in and do 1,000-pound squat.
Right. So what kind of, but what about movements when it comes to training for performance? Like, are we talking curls versus squats, or is everybody squatting with you, or like what's the basis of like a guy that wants to get a little bigger and trim up?
It really would, again, depend on the person and what he really needs. I would always have you do mobility work,
mm-hmm.
Especially if you're trying to put on muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've never been that specific weight or had that muscle bulk, if you will, before, it's really important to allow your body to adapt as seamless as possible. If you go and try to rip yourself up in the gym without stretching, without doing your mobility work, without getting soft tissue work, you're going to see results much slower than you would if you are taking complete care of your body and making sure every last little tendon is getting attention.
Yeah.
If you neglect it, it's just going to make that progress period take a lot longer.
Right. We actually talked about that with Adam on the last episode.
Yeah.
Like the percentage that people are getting out of their bodies because of mobility. And
Yeah.
Right.
What do you typically do with mobility stuff with people? What do you guys focus on?
Sometimes I do soft tissue work as like a warm up.
Okay.
Other time, if the person doesn't really need it, then we'll just go through different drills to get them warmed up.
More dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool.
So it's always different depending on the person.
Yeah. Awesome.
And then like conventional knowledge is like, okay, so if you want to tone, you're going to do a lower weight with a higher rep scheme versus strength. Do you subscribe to anything like that or or not? You do? Okay. Just
formal education. CrossFit is a big fad, or at least it was 2-3 years ago. I feel like it's not transitioning out, but you just don't hear about it as much as you did 2 years ago.
I'll say it's leveling off.
Okay, I would agree with you. And I would get, for massage specifically, I would get a ton of CrossFitters in because they weren't taking care of their body, and then they're like, dude, I threw out my shoulder, and then 2 weeks later it's the other shoulder, and then it's low back, because they're doing so much high weight, high reps, they're going crazy, and that was a niche of people that I would get regularly on my table, and I'm like, why isn't there people in CrossFit gyms putting them through a really good warm-up, doing soft tissue work, because that's an intense, I'll call it a sport, really. It's an intense sport to get yourself into, and if you're an average person who wasn't athletic, and I know a lot of them who wanted to get in shape and CrossFit was their route, and then they're like, they can't walk because they've got hip and low back things bothering them, and it's just taking care of your body.
Yeah. And we talked about like the early stages of CrossFit, like there was a ton of that. Now if you go into your typical gym, I would say that they're like much more educated when it comes to, especially because like Movement RX and companies like that are literally in and out of gyms all the time giving
trying to educate as much as we can on for coaches and stuff. Making sure proper warm-ups and stuff like that.
They even got like mobility classes going like once or twice a week at a lot of gyms, which is awesome. When I first started 6-7 years ago,
they didn't have that
stuff. Me and Claudia were working out together. We were one of those people. I was. She was probably taking care of herself. I would just go home after doing a bunch of deadlifts.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's way better now, for sure.
It's like, yeah, we've talked about that a lot on this show, actually.
Yeah.
All right, so you don't have a website, which is a problem, but
definitely a problem.
if people do want to find you, where can they find out more about you? It's a big following.
If you'd like to get a hold of me, you can email me directly at kael.roberts3, so that's Kael.roberts, the number 3 at gmail.com.
Okay.
And then I have YouTube, which is Kael_fit. I have Instagram, the Kael Collective, and those are like the top 3, I would say.
And if you're in the San Diego area, do you have openings for personal training right now?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
I'm always accepting new clients.
Okay. And then you also do the massage. You have the massage business as well. Okay. So if you're interested in that, and then if you are remote right now, if you're listening from anywhere else, you can cash in on the e-products as well. Go through a couple of your e-products just so.
I do mostly like, for the ladies, the booty building, leg toning programs. I also have ab programs, total body transformation. All of them are 30-day long programs. They come with the meal plan. I also have a separate meal plan that you can purchase. So I have a variety of products. Those, the meal plan, ab, booty, and 30-day total body transformation would probably be the top 4 that I sell the most.
Okay. And then check out her Instagram, and you'll see she's well qualified to sell you all of these things. All right, thanks for being on.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thanks.
Kael.
Chip the rip.
Thanks for listening to Lionheart Radio. Don't forget to rate us and download our other episodes. For your supplement needs, go to louaviv.com, and for your sports therapy needs, visit movement-rx.com.
This Midwest nigga be the coldest. Cleveland is the city where it's hustle or you hopeless. And my closet like a stove, bitch. Only difference is you ain't gon' find this in no stove, bitch. I'm fresher than your whole clique.